welcome, and thank you for tuning in. You're listening to the Beyond 50 radio program. I'm Daniel Davis. Aging. Certainly as people hear the title of our show, they think to themselves, well, what am I going to listen to this program today that's going to help me prevent or reverse aging? In fact, in America, we seem to be at such a level of consciousness when it comes to aging that we want to find many ways that we can cheat the system and try to find ways to at least reverse it or have it stand still. One of those particular ways is certainly aesthetic. How can we get our faces to stay younger? There's a huge industry out there that has us going in doing things such as Botox and plastic surgery. In fact, it's estimated that back in 2005, more than 10 million total cosmetic procedures were performed in the United States alone, which was an increase of 11% from the previous year. The fountain of youth has become a media fodder, yet the media has missed the most important discovery of all. On our program today, we're going to be talking with someone who leads the revolutionary facial exercise system and the innovative, easy-to-use, luscious lips pumps that restore useful fullness to lips in just seconds. In fact, we're going to be looking at non-invasive ways that we can go about doing this by applying what is known as the European spa exercise. After all, think about it. In our face, there are 43 muscles. So if we can exercise a bicep or our legs and get those to tone up, why not the face? We're going to be talking about this today as we're joined by expert and author of the book Facial Magic. Our guest joining us here on the Beyond 50 radio program today, Cynthia Rowland. Cynthia, thank you for joining us here on the program.
Well, Daniel, thank you for having me, and what a wonderful introduction that was.
Well, this is one of those areas here, and certainly you're looking at a day and an age. I keep telling men, look, start taking care of yourself because the women are looking hotter. But one of the things that really is devastating to me are the ones that buy into that system of invasive surgeries, especially as you describe in your book, when they go to these, like, say, strip malls or malls where you see these people promising this fountain of youth and reversal of aging, getting rid of, wrinkles and the like, and they don't realize the kind of situation they may be putting themselves in long term. Tell us how you got started with all this.
Well, I got started in anti-aging when I realized that my left eyelid that was sitting on my eyelash was not going to get better by itself. And I also realized after seeing some of my girlfriends and talking with them that I knew that I was not a candidate for surgery on my eyelids. And there's a few reasons why. One is because I was a mother to two younger boys. They were teenagers, but they required a lot of cash in those days because they like to play sports, they like to wear jeans, they like to have tennis shoes, and all of these things that go on when you're raising children. There's a lot of responsibility financially. So financially, I was unwilling to lay out $3,500 for a procedure. And then, Daniel, when I saw one of my girlfriends who had had the exact surgery that I was contemplating, and her eyes were green and purple around her eyes, with swelling, and it just looked hideous to me. And I thought, how can I put my body through that? So that's when I began to search for the fountain of youth that would be a non-surgical fountain of youth. And that's when I learned about this woman in Denver, Colorado. Her name was Marcelle Chapitz, and she was teaching a non-surgical facelift in Denver, Colorado. I couldn't hardly believe what I was hearing, and when I got there, I could hardly believe what I was seeing because I thought this process needs to be on the nightly news. People need to know that they can save their face without surgery, and that's how it began.
Now, it was kind of fun because I was doing a little bit of research here on the Internet about the face itself, and I thought this would be really a lot of fun and applicable to what you have here because you outline 18 proven exercises that help you save your face and tone it up, things like that. So let's take a look at a couple of things here, and maybe you can kind of, jump in and let us know about this here. But, for instance, let's take a look at, for instance, people say that it may be good to, laugh a lot more in your lifetime. It keeps your face nice and toned, things like that. So the question would be, well, is laughing a good workout for your face?
Well, laughing is wonderful, but if you want it to make your face look younger, laughter is not going to be enough to make your face look younger. You've got to really be proactive in learning this program of isometric contraction with resistance. Those are a lot of big words, but it really means that you're going to look younger than your years when you learn how to perform these exercises.
So now what is it about as we age that our face begins to, I guess, lose its luster, if you will?
Yes. Well, here's what happens. Just like in our body, we can see our legs begin to lose their tone. We can see our hips lose their tone and kind of slide down the back of our legs. We can hold up our arm, and if we don't exercise that arm, we see that arm begin to sway as we move our arms. In the face, it's no different. By the time a person reaches 55 years of age, their facial muscles, which is the primary cause of aging, begin to elongate. And when your facial muscles elongate from lack of exercise, it's going to drag the skin down. Just imagine a 1/2 inch increase in your jowls, your cheeks, your forehead. There's only one way for that lax skin and muscles to go, and that is south. So all of a sudden you're faced with a lumpy jawline, a double chin, the dreaded waddle, hooded eyes, nose to mouth lines. All of these indicators are age-related for the face. And it's just because the muscles have lost their tone.
Now, you talk about skin. This is a very important aspect of the face as well, and especially in a day of age with cosmetics so readily available, it gets pretty difficult to decide which ones to navigate that are best for you. Let's talk about that for a little bit.
Well, you're absolutely right that there are millions of products out in the marketplace. Most of these products, Daniel, are topical products like miracle creams, right? But I don't see any miracle cream that can do what an exercise program called Facial Magic can do for your face. So, yes, I think that skincare is important, but you've got to supplement that skincare with something that goes deeper and is more effective than just topical skincare. You've got to get in there and exercise your face.
So let's go ahead and start talking about some of the simple things people can start with listening today that they can do to begin to tone their face.
Well, one is if they would go to my website, which is CynthiaRowland.com. That's CynthiaRowland.com. You will find a free exercise there. And when I first learned about this process, Daniel, that exercise was the indicator of how well your face would respond to the exercises. So if you go to CynthiaRowland.com, look on the Facial Magic site for a free exercise, you're going to see how we teach you to anchor the muscles underneath your eyebrows and push those eyebrows straight up. Anchor with your fingertips, that means to push in, and then we create a contraction in the forehead by pushing down into the fingertips using the forehead muscle. And that very exercise, when you do this for weeks at a time, will begin to lift your eyebrows because eyebrows drop with age. And it will begin to shorten the forehead muscles because that forehead muscle is a vertical muscle, and when it elongates, it pushes down into the eyebrows. So once we get that eyebrow going back up, your eyes open, you look younger, and you look less tired.
You know, one thing that was interesting to discover about the facial muscles is a lot of times they're attached to a single area of the bone and then to the skin. So, you know, that's kind of an interesting way to look at how these things are, and you wonder when people go into places where they get injected, you know, what kind of potential damage that can actually cause.
we don't even know the potential damage that can cause. Because once there's that injected material in your forehead or around your eyes, you know that doesn't stay there, right, Daniel?
Right.
It travels to other parts of the body. Yes, that if you're using a Botox, it will paralyze the muscle, but it also that gets into your bloodstream, and it goes everywhere throughout your body. And in fact, I've read certain statistics that say once that Botox is injected in your forehead, within 15 seconds, it is in your brain.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So it actually extends far beyond the face then, huh?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, and you know, when you're injecting Botox, it's botulism that you're putting into your body.
Ow.
And some people have a horrific reaction to having that toxin in their body. In fact, when you go to a plastic surgeon's office to have a Botox injection, you are made to read and check off a list of approximately 4 pages of contraindications. That means that you might have one of these, how many? I don't even remember now, 80, 60 different types of reactions, and the last one they write is death.
Wow.
Yeah. So even though it sounds very innocuous, I mean, just so pleasant, let's just go in for a little Botox injection, it can have great ramifications.
No doubt about that.
Yes, and listen, Daniel, I don't know how far you've gotten into my book or if you've worked your face with the exercises, but in just hardly any time at all, I'm talking 35 seconds, you begin to see and feel that your face is changing when you do these exercises.
Mm-hmm.
Each exercise requires 35 seconds of your time. So when we start teaching you this program, I don't want to just have everybody jump in and learn all 18 exercises, because I think the user would be mad at me if they did that, because it's so much to learn and their faces probably wouldn't respond the way they want them to. So we teach you 2 exercises per week. So week 1, you're going to learn how to exercise your upper eyes and your upper cheeks. And you're going to do those 2 exercises 6 days in a row. Now, each exercise requires 35 seconds, so in 70 seconds every day you are done with your exercise program. And that probably doesn't sound like enough time to really make a difference, but over time it does, because we're going to teach you 2 new exercises for week 2. So you perform the first 2 exercises you learned in week 1, and then you add 2 new exercises to your routine for a total of 4 exercises. And each week we teach you 2 new exercises that you add to your program. And when you're doing all 18 exercises, you can easily complete those in between 22 minutes and 35 minutes.
You know, and that's not really a very big time commitment compared to the outcome should you decide something that's more expensive, you know, that certainly is invasive, and that in the long term, as we were discussing earlier, doesn't seem to really, nobody really knows what's going to happen. Exactly.
But we know what's going to happen with your face, because you're going to look younger and fresher and more radiant. And it takes hardly any time at all to realize that there's something very magical about this program that is causing your muscles to act differently. And you feel differently about yourself, because all of a sudden you have more confidence in your appearance, because your face is changing.
And one of the suggestions that you make that I think is very key, too, is to take a photograph. So you've got a before situation going on here. And as you say in your book, that if you actually focus and you do this consistently and give yourself time and patience, that within 12 weeks you're looking at a significant reduction in how you look age-wise.
That is correct. My experience of doing this, working with this program for the last 26 years, shows me that if a woman or a man will get in there and do that 12-week program, that at the end of 12 weeks they should look anywhere from 10 to 15 years younger. You look like yourself, but only younger, without any cuts or any danger to put yourself in. And because you're on a radio show, Daniel, of 50 and over, we really have to be careful with our health after the age of 50, because a lot of people begin to see how their body is belying them with high blood pressure sometimes, or diabetes, or heart disease, or breast cancer. All of these things are deterrents to keep you out of a surgeon's office. So if you want to look younger, if you're ready to wear a younger-looking face, then you've got to do it with exercise instead of these extraneous, invasive, costly, no guarantee procedures.
Now, one of the things you talk about, too, especially when it comes to doing this, is the rules that you need to follow as you do these exercises. One of them is that you say that your face must be clean. Why is that?
Well, when you are working with the outside of your skin, we don't want to press on it if it has makeup on it, because that just drives that dirt and makeup into the pores. So we want you to clean your face, and if you need to moisturize it, you can, but with a clean face, we use our white exercise gloves to anchor the muscles on the outside of the face and on the inside of the mouth. And that's why we have a clean face to start.
Okay, very good. Now, what other tips do you want to give to people, our listeners today, other than, you should get a hold of the book so that way you can detail and you can actually do these exercises that we're talking about here?
Yes, and in addition to a book, Daniel, we also have it on DVD and a CD, so that there's lots of ways to learn this program, because not everybody learns in the same way. But here's a couple things that I want to tell your listeners. If you have those two vertical lines or one vertical line between your eyebrows, when you're by yourself and before you go to bed at night, put a 1-inch piece of office tape vertically over the lines between your eyebrows, and that's going to stop you from frowning. And it's sort of like, just will teach you gradually that, this is what it feels like when I frown, and I cannot do that anymore. And when you wake up the next morning, take off the tape, you will see that it has prevented you from frowning during your sleep.
So people actually frown during their sleep?
Absolutely. That subconscious brain is working all night long, and it causes us to make all sorts of motions with our face. Mm-hmm. And that includes furrowing your brow and wrinkling your forehead.
Mm-hmm. Now, as people have worked with this program here, I'm certain that they've probably emailed and given you feedback. What are some of the things that you have heard from people who have actually engaged in facial magic?
Well, I just got an email yesterday with a testimonial from a woman who is she was on NBC regularly. Her name is Linda, and she is the real cougar woman. And she wrote the first thing that came across her email was facial magic works. And so that's what, and we have lots of testimonials, Daniel. If you go to our website, you can read about what people's experience have been with this program, and also photos of what people have sent in to us, because they want us to see the results.
Now, you mentioned a website earlier for our listeners to go to there. Tell us what they could find there and where it is, actually.
Okay, www.cynthiaroland.com is our website that teaches you all about facial magic. And it has the upper eye exercise that typically cost, if you go in to have your eyes done, your eyelids done, Daniel, it's about a $3,500 procedure, sometimes more in Los Angeles. But this will save your eyesight because as people begin to age and mature, that's one of the things they notice is that their eyelids are not as tight as they used to be, and it impairs their vision. So you will learn all about our program, how facial magic works, the benefits. Take a look at our before and after photos. Read the reviews because that's where all the testimonials are. And let's see, what else do we offer? We just offer so many things. Oh, that's right, the frequently asked questions and then our eye lift. So you should be able to find everything, all your questions answered when you go to our site.
Well, absolutely. There's a lot we could talk about here, but this is really something that you visually need to engage in. You need to, as you talk about also when you do these exercises, you need to be standing in front of a mirror.
Yes, and before they even do the exercises, Daniel, I want your listeners to go to the mirror and look at their faces and just think about what it would be like if you could actually wear a younger face. And that's what we're going to help you do because right now we know that 70 is the new 40.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Very good. Cynthia, thank you so much for being on the program here today.
My pleasure. I'm so glad that you asked me to do this with you, Daniel.
Mm-hmm. That way people can feel more confident. And, of course, your workbook has a lot of range of things that people would be interested in engaging in this process with here. And certainly that's why they do the workbook, is so they can find out, why am I doing this? And after all, if you have enough reasons to do something, most likely you're going to stick with it as you're doing it.
Exactly.
Thank you so much.
Thank you again, Daniel. I really had a great time.
You bet. We want to thank you, the listeners out there, for tuning in. You can also discover more. Visit us at Beyond50Radio.com. The number 50, we do encourage you to sign up for our weekly e-newsletter to stay up to date on what's going on in the world of Beyond 50 as well as our upcoming programs. I'm Daniel Davis. Thank you for joining us. This is the Beyond 50 Radio program. And remember, live your day past halfway.